Hey everyone, it's Sammy from PushSquare, and I thought in today's video that I'd list 5 firmware update features that I'd like to see added to the PS4 in 2018. Now, Sony didn't really update the PlayStation 4 all that much in 2017, and I'd argue that's because it didn't really need to. I mean, we finally got external hard drive support, which kinda ticked off one of the system's most oft requested features since launch, and the manufacturer also did a lot of work overhauling the platform's parental controls feature set. So beyond that, it's actually becoming difficult to determine areas where the device can actually be strengthened, and that's going to be evidenced by this video. I do scrape the barrel a little bit. Nevertheless, here are the 5 firmware update features that I want on PS4 in 2018, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more PS4 content all through the year. Let's get into it. So number 1, I'm bored of talking about it, but it's so obvious, it's PSN name changes. Now, to be fair, Sony's actually said that PSN name changes are coming. Sean Layden, who's one of the bigwigs at Sony, talked at PlayStation Experience about how the option is probably going to come in 2018, and that's a good thing because this has been one of PlayStation's most requested features for many years now. It was a popular point of discussion on the old PS I Love You podcast with the Kinda Funny team. It's something that a lot of people have been asking for, and I mean, if you consider that PSN started over 10 years ago, there are a lot of people that were teenagers, maybe not even teenagers, when they created their PSN usernames, so I guess it makes sense that a lot of people would want to change them, and let's hope we see an end to this saga in 2018. The second firmware update feature I'd like is PS1 support. Now, I don't think Sony's done a particularly great job of supporting its legacy, really. I mean, we've seen a lot of remakes on the PS4. Shadow of the Colossus comes out soon. We've already seen Crash Bandicoot and the likes of Patapon, Medieval's coming. So Sony has kind of leaned into its legacy, but it could have done so much more. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing PS1 and PS2 titles that you can't play on the PS4. Now, it's fair enough that the PS3 isn't supported because the hardware was so unusual and the architecture isn't really compatible with the PS4's architecture. That makes sense, but there's no reason why the PS2 Classics initiative should be so under-supported and why we haven't seen PS1 Classics arrive yet. So I'd really like to see some retro games with PS1 Classics support as my second most requested firmware feature for 2018. So my third one I think is an interesting one. I have mentioned this before. Sony actually keeps track of everything that you do on the PS4, and I know that because regularly it will send out emails showing you what your most played games are, how long you spent playing multiplayer on PS4, that kind of thing. So it's got this data stored somewhere, and I don't see why they don't put that information on the console itself and let you sort of share it with your friends and compare. You know, stuff like how long you've played a particular game, or how long your average play sessions are, or even how many trophies you've earned in a month or a year or a week or whatever. All of that information I personally find quite interesting. I'd love to see it introduced at a console level so that you can keep track of everything that you do on the system and compare with your friends and maybe even share it online. So my fourth suggestion for PS4 firmware update features in 2018 is really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like, it's hard to think of ways that the PS4 can really be sizably improved because in its current state it already feels quite feature complete. But one thing I will say that would be a nice usability improvement is if you could pin apps or games or folders to the start of your list on the main menu. Now, currently what it does is it orders all your apps based on when you last used them, but it would be cool if there's a particular game that you play often or a folder that you use often, if you could just pin that right to the start so that it's always at the beginning of the list and always ready to be used. I mean, I appreciate that it is a minor thing, but little things can sometimes go a long way, and this is an example of one of those. Okay, so my fifth suggestion for PS4 firmware updates I'd like to see in 2018 is not actually a feature at all. So stick with me here. The PS4 has improved a lot since launch, right? Sony's added a lot of new features and functionality, but that has come at the expense of a little bit of speed. Now, my PS4 personally, and other people I've spoke to, they do encounter a little bit of judder from time to time, a little bit of slowdown, and so my one final suggestion for firmware updates in 2018 would be to just optimize the whole experience a little bit. Just make it as fast and as snappy and as lightweight as it possibly can be, and get that system software so efficient that you don't ever see any slowdown, or you don't ever have to wait when you click on something. It's a small thing, and it's the kind of thing that I would only notice if you often use the system and often use all of its features and functionality, but it's important for a UI to be really responsive, and the PS4 is still very responsive, but it does have those occasional moments of slowdown that I'd like Sony to eliminate. But what firmware update features do you want in 2018? Have I missed something out major, or do you think that the PS4 is virtually feature complete at this point? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you so much for watching.